You pull into a Tesla Supercharger, and the cable will not fit your car. So you dig through the frunk for a $200 dongle, snap it onto the handle, and hope the station cooperates. That is still the reality for most electric vehicles sold in America this year. Today, I am counting down 12 EVs you can buy right now that still need an adapter to use the biggest charging network in the country, and why the model year on the window sticker might be the most important spec on it. Let's get into it. We start with a vehicle that launched Cadillac's electric era, the Lyriq, with up to 326 miles of range. This is a genuinely handsome luxury SUV with a beautifully finished interior, available Super Cruise hands-free driving, and a 33-inch curved display that still looks modern years after it debuted. It is the car that proved Cadillac could build a credible electric vehicle, but it ships with a CCS port. To use a Tesla Supercharger, you need an approved adapter from General Motors, which runs around $225. And even then, you are limited to the stations that support non-Tesla vehicles. Here's what makes this frustrating rather than merely inconvenient. Cadillac's own smaller optic already has a native NACS port built in from the factory, the first GM vehicle to make the switch. So the cheaper Cadillac plugs straight into a supercharger, and the more expensive one needs a dongle. Same brand, same showroom, opposite experiences. And there is a deadline on it. GM has confirmed every 2027 model year electric vehicle across Cadillac, Chevrolet, and GMC gets a native port. Which means a Lyriq shopper right now is making a real choice. Buy today with the adapter and whatever discount comes with it, or wait a few months for the version that does not need one. Number 11 is the GM electric vehicle with the most complicated reputation, the Chevrolet Blazer EV, at up to 312 miles. Regular viewers know the history. This car launched with software problems severe enough that GM halted sales entirely, and the electronic complaints have never fully disappeared. It also posted the worst percentage sales drop of any volume GM product in the second quarter, down 68% year over year. It ships with CCS, so supercharger access means the adapter, and that lands differently on this car than on the others. When a vehicle already has a reputation for electronic gremlins, adding a piece of hardware between your car and the charger is one more thing in the chain that can behave unpredictably. The upside is leverage. A slow-selling model with a rough reputation means dealers are motivated and the discounts are real. But of all the GM electric vehicles waiting for their 2027 fix, this is the one where waiting makes the most sense, because you would be getting the native port and however many more software revisions Chevrolet ships between now and then. Number 10 is the most affordable way into an electric Audi, the Q4 e-tron. This is a comfortable, well-built luxury crossover with the interior quality that separates Audi from the mainstream. Regular viewers met it on the reliability countdown, where it earned a spot for sharing its fundamentals with the Volkswagen ID.4. Same platform, same underfloor battery, better cabin. It also shares Volkswagen Group's charging port strategy, which means CCS and an adapter for supercharger access. And unlike General Motors, Volkswagen Group has not announced a firm timeline for moving its existing models to native NACS in America. So there is no 2027 fix to wait for here, the way there is with the Cadillacs and Chevrolets. That changes the calculation. With a GM electric vehicle, you are choosing between now and a few months from now. With this one, the adapter is simply how you charge for as long as you own the car. Worth knowing the other Audi caveat too. On the depreciation video, Audi electric vehicles took some of the steepest value losses in the industry, with the Q8 e-tron down around 56% in 3 years. That is punishing for a new buyer and excellent for anyone shopping used a few years out. Number 9 is the most reliable electric vehicle on the market, and it still needs a dongle, the BMW i4. Regular viewers have heard me praise this car more than almost any other electric vehicle on the channel. It finishes at or near the top of every major dependability survey. Over 300 miles of range on the eDrive 40, a cabin that feels like a proper BMW rather than an experiment. On the longevity countdown, it earned a spot purely on engineering merit, Because BMW has been studying battery aging since the original i3 launched over a decade ago, and it shows in how conservatively these packs are managed. But it ships with CCS, so a supercharger stop means the adapter and the compatible station lookup that goes with it. What makes this one interesting is what BMW is doing right next to it. The brand new iX3 on the Neue Klasse platform has a native NACS port, 434 miles of range, and 400 kilowatt charging, and roughly 100,000 orders in its first 9 months abroad. So BMW has clearly solved this. The i4 simply predates the solution. For a buyer, that creates a genuine fork. The i4 is the more proven car with the better reliability record, and right now, the better price. The iX3 is the newer platform with the port built in. Neither is wrong. Just know which trade you are making before you sign, because you cannot retrofit a charge port. Number 8 is Audi's newest and most advanced electric SUV, and it still went out the door with the old connector, the Q6 e-tron. This one stings a little more than the Q4 below it, because the Q6 is not an aging design. It is the first vehicle on Volkswagen Group's PPE platform, the modern 800-volt architecture built specifically for fast charging, and it is genuinely competitive on range and charge rate. Independent testing puts its charging performance among the quickest in the luxury segment, which is the frustrating part. You have a vehicle engineered around charging speed on an 800-volt system designed to exploit the fastest stations available, and then you need a $200 adapter to plug into the largest fast charging network in the country. The Q6 shares that PPE platform with the Porsche Macan Electric and the Audi A6 e-tron. So this is a Volkswagen Group decision rather than a Q6 problem specifically. And as with the Q4, there is no announced timeline for these models switching to native NACS in America. If you are buying a Q6 budget for the adapter as a permanent accessory rather than a temporary bridge. Number 7 is the most expensive vehicle so far that still requires the dongle, the Porsche Macan Electric. This is the same PPE platform as the Q6 e-tron, tuned the way only Porsche tunes things. It is the sportiest electric SUV in its class, it charges quickly, and reviewers consistently say it drives with more Porsche in it than a heavy electric crossover has any right to. A new GTS trim joined the lineup this year, with up to 563 horsepower, adaptive air suspension, and torque vectoring. It also carries a CCS port, which means a six-figure Porsche needs an adapter to charge at a supercharger. There is a broader story worth knowing here. Regular viewers know the Macan Electric has been stacking up on dealer lots, appearing near the top of leftover inventory rankings, while Porsche has publicly admitted its electric targets were too ambitious and is redirecting money toward gas and hybrid models. The gas Macan was Porsche's best-selling vehicle in America for years, and the electric version has not inherited that momentum. So the leverage is real, and so is the resale warning. Early Taycans lost value fast enough to become a cautionary tale among Porsche buyers, and that memory attaches to every electric car wearing the crest. Buy it if you are keeping it a long time, lease it if you are not, and either way, keep the adapter in the frunk. Number 6 is 9,000 pounds of vehicle and the longest charging session on this list, the GMC Hummer EV, in both pickup and SUV form. The pickup carries up to 363 miles of range, the SUV up to 319, and both get there with a battery that can run past 200 kilowatt hours. That pack alone weighs about as much as a compact car, and it ships with CCS. So the vehicle with the largest battery in General Motors' lineup, the one that needs fast charging more than anything else GM builds, is the one standing at a supercharger with an adapter clipped to the handle. The math makes it worse rather than better. A pack that size takes a genuinely long time to fill, so Hummer owners fast charge more often and for longer than almost anyone. Every one of those sessions runs through the dongle. Regular viewers know the rest of the picture. Hummer sales fell roughly 56% year over year. It has been piling up on dealer lots, and GMC just unveiled a commemorative anniversary edition, which historically arrives before a nameplate exits rather than after. So the discounts are deep and getting deeper. Just factor in that if you buy a 2026, you own the adapter era permanently, while the 2027 gets the port built in. Number 5 is the strangest entry on this list, because the company solved this problem on a different car and left this one behind, the Lucid Air. This is the best engineered electric vehicle in America. 512 miles of range at the top of my longest range countdown, the most efficient production car in the world. A 900-volt architecture, the highest voltage system in any production electric vehicle, capable of adding 200 miles in roughly 12 minutes, and it ships with CCS. Meanwhile, the Lucid Gravity, same company, same engineering team, newer product, has a native NACS port built in. So Lucid's SUV plugs straight into a supercharger and Lucid's flagship sedan does not. That is a shame on a car built for distance. The Air is the vehicle on this entire list most likely to be used for genuine cross-country driving, because it is the only one that can cover 500 miles between stops. Which means it is also the vehicle whose owners will be hunting compatible supercharger stalls most often. Regular viewers know the buying context too. The Air lost around 63% of its value in 5 years on the depreciation video, which made used examples the #1 pick on my performance bargains list. Whether new or used, the adapter comes with it. Just budget for one and keep it in the frunk permanently. Number 4 is the longest range truck on the planet, and it still needs the dongle. The Chevrolet Silverado EV, at up to 478 miles in GM's estimates, there is real engineering ambition in this truck. The battery runs at 400 volts while driving, then reconfigures itself to 800 volts at a fast charger, letting it pull from 350 kilowatt stations without exotic hardware. That is a clever solution to a hard problem. So it is genuinely odd that a truck engineered to charge that fast arrives without the connector for the country's largest fast charging network. And this is the vehicle where it matters most, because towing changes everything. Pull a trailer near capacity and real range can drop to somewhere around 150 to 175 miles, which is true of every electric truck. That turns a workday into a sequence of charging stops, every one of them requiring the adapter, and every one of them depending on whether that particular supercharger supports non-Tesla vehicles. For a truck buyer who tows regularly, this is the strongest case on the entire list for simply waiting. The 2027 Silverado EV gets the native port, and GM has confirmed it. A few months of patience removes a piece of hardware from every single charging stop for the next decade of ownership. Number 3 is the one where you need to check the specific car in front of you, the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Ford was among the very first automakers to sign onto the NACS transition, and it moved early. Mach-E and Lightning owners got complementary adapters years ago, before most brands had a plan. But those early adapters only handle level 2 charging at Tesla destination chargers, not the superchargers people actually wanted. Where the Mach-E stands now depends on which report you read. Ford has been transitioning its lineup, but tracking sites still list the 2026 Mach-E as shipping with CCS. So this is the entry where I would tell you to verify the exact build rather than trust any spec sheet, including mine. Look at the charge port on the car you are considering. A CCS inlet has a round J1772 plug stacked above 2 large pins, while a native NACS port is a single smaller round port with 5 pins. 30 seconds of looking beats, 30 days of assuming. Beyond the port, regular viewers know the Mach-E situation. It is Ford's last remaining electric vehicle after the Lightning ended. Sales are down sharply, and the incentives have been aggressive. 0% financing, payment holidays, bonus cash. The discounts are real, and Ford's next generation platform does not arrive until the Fathom pickup next year. Number 2 is the one that affects the most people, the Chevrolet Equinox EV. This is the volume seller, one of the best-selling non-Tesla electric vehicles in America for 2 years running, with 319 miles of range and pricing. That has made it the value benchmark of the affordable segment. Regular viewers know it as the range per dollar champion, and it ships with CCS. So the electric vehicle that has introduced more Americans to electric driving than almost any other requires an adapter to use the network most of them have heard of. That lands differently than it does on a 6-figure Porsche. The Equinox EV buyer is very often a first-time electric vehicle owner, someone stepping out of a gas car who has been told the supercharger network is the thing that makes electric driving work. Handing that person a $225 dongle and a compatibility lookup on day one is exactly the kind of friction that turns a curious buyer into a frustrated one, which makes the timing genuinely important here. The 2027 Equinox EV gets the native port and it is already on sale. So if you are shopping this car right now, the two versions are sitting on the same lot, and the difference between them is not a trim level. It is whether you carry hardware in your frunk for the next 10 years. And the electric vehicle that most deserves to be at the top of this list is the Cadillac Escalade IQ. $130,000, 9,000 pounds, 750 horsepower, 465 miles of range, the third longest of anything sold in America. A 55-inch display spanning the dashboard, Super Cruise, four-wheel steering, best luxury car honors, and a CCS port, so the most expensive, most technologically loaded American electric vehicle you can buy pulls into a supercharger and needs a $225 plastic adapter to charge. The stretched IQL version, at 460 miles, is in exactly the same position. It is a strange thing to engineer a flagship this thoroughly and leave that detail for the following model year. And it matters practically too, because a battery in the 200 kilowatt hour class means long sessions, and long sessions mean more time depending on whether that particular station supports non-Tesla vehicles. The fix is confirmed and close. Every 2027 GM electric vehicle across Cadillac, Chevrolet, and GMC gets a native NACS port, which means anyone about to spend six figures on an Escalade IQ has the clearest decision on this entire list. Wait for the model year that plugs straight in, or negotiate hard enough that the adapter feels like a rounding error. 12 vehicles, and the pattern is clear once you see it. 6 of them are General Motors, which had 10 2026 models still on CCS. And GM has confirmed the whole lineup switches for 2027. Volkswagen Group and Porsche have no announced timeline. So on those, the adapter is permanent. Ford is mid-transition, which is why you check the actual car. 3 practical things before you shop. Look at the charge port yourself rather than trusting a listing, because it is a 30-second check that a salesperson may get wrong. Ask whether the adapter is included or extra, since some brands hand it over and others charge $200 or more. And if you are looking at a GM electric vehicle right now, understand that the 2026 and the 2027 are sitting on the same lot with a meaningful difference between them. None of this makes any car on this list a bad buy. An adapter works, it lives in the frunk, and dual cable stations are becoming standard at most new charging sites. But if you fast charge often, native is simply better. One less piece of hardware, one less step, one less thing to forget at home. I'm Nick, this has been Nick's Car Review, and I will see you in the next one.